Niall Stanage, White House columnist for The Hill. That smile in your face means you're ready to talk about this. You know, the former president, we're saying, paints a dire picture, but even Democrats, all parties, in some major cities, agree that crime has gotten out of hand.
Yes, they do. And to me, this goes to a bigger point, Adrienne. You know, if we cast our minds all the way back to 2016, there's a reason why Donald Trump, never having held elected office at all before, won the presidency at his first attempt. And part of that was an instinctive grasp of what people actually care about, not what polite society thinks they should care about or editorial pages think they should care about, what they actually care about. And he thinks clearly right now that's crime, and he may be right. Here's where it gets complicated. He's the only president in American history to be twice impeached for the second time for his role in inciting a violent insurrection in which 150 law enforcement officers approximately were injured. Only a few hours before this speech, a supporter of his was jailed for more than 5 years for his role. So the question politically is, can you make a law and order argument while there's that split screen effect?
But Niall, do you really believe that most of the country, again, I'm talking about most of Republicans now, because I'm sure that Democrats would all agree that he was twice impeached, but don't you believe that under the terms with which that term, impeachment, is used surrounding the most controversial, polarizing president in American history, that a lot of Americans don't believe he was impeached at all?
Well, a lot of Americans don't believe that it was right to impeach him, perhaps. I mean, that's certainly true. I mean, he was, as a point of fact, impeached. He wasn't convicted. Now, the broader issue, though, I think you're getting at, Adrienne, is the polarization that surrounds the former president. And there are clearly an enormous number of people who are very loyal to him, who believe he has been wronged in various ways. And it's, of course, right to acknowledge that. The problem sometimes is that in concentrating upon that Trump base, one minimizes or neglects the fact that there is, according to polling at least, a slightly larger number of people who detest him, frankly, who find, that his conduct is just not acceptable. And that's why in polling, his favorability ratings with the general population are negative, even as they are hugely positive with Republican voters.
Yeah, and honestly, there are a lot of Republicans who can't stand him, but would still vote for him because of the agenda, because of the platform, because like this polling that we have here, according to this New York Times Siena poll, 92% of voters believe America's crime problem is an important midterm issue. So despite the taste in their mouth over former President Trump, do you think that this is a strategy that could actually still give him a winning chance or a chance at all at running for president again?
It could, clearly. I mean, for all that one can say on the negative side of the ledger about Trump, he is clearly the leading contender to win the Republican nomination. And this goes back to the point I mentioned at the very start. He does have just an instinctive feel for what people, particularly people of a conservative disposition, are thinking and feeling and want said. I think that's why there is such a deep bond between him and his base. And so you look at other potential candidates like Vice President Pence, for example, making perhaps a more modulated argument. Then you look at the polls and Pence is basically nowhere compared to Trump when it comes to the battle for the Republican nomination. That is testament to the hold that the former president still has on those Republican voters.
I have to ask this question, even though I'm being told we're out of time, because I like to do this. One more, just one more. Sources telling the Washington Post the Department of Justice is investigating the former president's actions as part of its criminal probe. What could this mean?
It could mean that ultimately there will be charges pressed. That would obviously massively complicate former President Trump's presidential bid if he chooses to make another one in 2024, though he will cast it, of course, as a political, partisan matter. I could say more. I could always say more in our conversations, Adrienne, but I fear your control room will start screaming at me if I do.
Oh, man. All right. Now, we're having so much fun. We'll talk again soon.
Always.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.